First off, we'll start off with USPA's mission, because this is something pretty important to this organization. The staff probably gets tired of hearing me say these things, but what is it that USPA does? We support safe skydiving and those who enjoy it. Our core functions, which there are 3 of, is to ensure skydiving's rightful place on airports and in the airspace system, promotion of safe skydiving through education, training, licensing, instructor qualification programs, and last but not least, promotion of competition and record-setting programs. They get tired of hearing me say this in meetings, but it's important because it's what we do, and it's what drives everything that we do day to day in the office. Our USPA Board of Directors, which are here, we have 22 board members. 14 of them are regional directors, 8 are national directors, and our standing committees, either elected or otherwise, are shown here on the page. Thank you all members for being here. This general membership meeting is about you and this organization, so thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in this general membership meeting, and I hope you'll tell others once this is all done what a great opportunity it was to hear more about your organization. So next up, we'll talk a little bit about board and staff. Many of you know some of this information, a lot of you may not, but in short, the board of USPA makes the policy and the staff executes that. USPA members, that's all of you, elect the board of directors. They serve for a 3-year term. They are volunteers that are elected by the membership, and the current term we're in is 2025 to 2027. The one thing they all have in common, even though they have diverse interests and points of view on topics, which makes them so great at what they do, is they all love this sport, without a doubt. Board responsibilities are to determine the policies of the association, establish the operating budget, develop and establish programs for the association in concert with headquarters staff, and to hire and remove, if necessary, the executive director to serve as the association's chief of staff. The board hires the executive director, that's me, who will direct staff. Those folks are all paid employees, and we work in Fredericksburg, Virginia, 14 in Fredericksburg, 6.5 remote, and we have 2 planned departures later on this year due to retirement or moving on to other things. This is a quick look at the headquarters staff. At the top, you have the Office of the Executive Director, administrative offices, myself, Stephanie Whitaker, Tammy Zitz, and Barb Barlow. Communication staff, which as you can see is the largest department at headquarters. Laura Sharp, our managing communications director. She'll be leaving later this year, retiring after 17 years of service to USPA. We thank her so much for her time and all the hard work she's put in. Editor Rosie Booker, Publications Matter, Debbie Gross, graphic artist Nate Hill, sport promotions manager Shannon Searles, managing editor Luke Jones, who will also be leaving us later on this year to move on to bigger and better things. Thank you so much, Luke, for all your time at USPA. He has done some very valuable work for us, and we really can't thank him enough. Public relations, George Hargis, web designer, who came on with us this year, Mr. Tyler Jones. Cecilia just came on in January as an associate editor. Competition and records, Amanda Owens, you met her earlier. IT department, Jen Sharp, the department which doubled last year in size, adding Patrick Anderson. Member services, the department that used to be the largest one at USPA is now one of the smallest. Much in thanks to the work of our IT department putting a lot of the administrative work online. Member services, Stephanie Seidel and Deborah Miller. Safety and training, Ron Bell and John Zitz. And our one-man government relations machine, Mr. Michael Knight. Next, we'll run through some information on end of year 2025. Membership numbers. Membership number, this is a look at the last 4 years of USPA membership. Average USPA, highest USPA membership number, right around 41,500. New members, around 7,500, very similar in the past. Group membership down a bit at 188. The scale makes it look like it's half, but it's not really. That number is usually around 190 to 200. So a little bit less than it's been the last couple years. International affiliates kind of heading the other way, up to about 145 was the highest we had in the calendar year of 2025. Licenses and ratings. Licenses issued just over 9,000. A licenses right around 4,500. Ratings issued about 1,800. And pro ratings right around 80, same as it was in 2024. Incidents reported. We saw the number of incidents reported jump or stay right around where it was last year. You notice a big jump there from 2017, 2018. 2019, it started to head up. That's when Mr. Ron Bell came on board, went into a very large campaign of helping to educate members and SNTAs on the value of non-fatal incident reporting and the value it can have to all of us in the community, and to be able to learn from the mistakes that occur. Fatalities in 2025. In 2024, we had 9. This year, that number went up to 16. This is a quick look at them on a percentage basis. The annual fatality summary is in process. You guys will see that next month in Parachutist magazine. So a lot of good information there. Probably one of the most read articles that we have is this information on fatalities, as well as the non-fatal incident report that comes out the month after. Statement of activities, some financial information on the organization. Operating revenue, about 4.4 million. Expenses, 4.1. Operating revenue over expenses for the end of the year, 247,000 operational excess. Interest and dividends, about 25,000. Investment gains and losses, about 733. That number can vary widely. Some years it's negative, but most of the years it is positive. We do have a pretty conservative investment policy that we do with our investment managers. Investment fees around 49,000, with a total of non-operational activity 709, and revenue over expenses for the entire year of 2025 is 957,000. Operating cash for the organization. This is a quick look at it. The purple bars are 2024. Green 2025. We try and keep that number pretty steady. We obviously have the ability to tap into reserves if that number gets too low, or move money into reserves if it gets too high. So try and keep that number pretty steady and not let it creep up too much. Reserve accounts for USPA. The investment reserves just over 8 million. We've had a dip there in the past. You see back in 2022, most of that is market related as it moves up and down. TTF currently living just about 3.1 million, and the AAD fund around 450, if my memory is correct. USPA assets and net worth continually moving up slowly through good conservative asset management and operational activities, keeping them in the positive, making sure our revenues stay just above our expenses. A little bit of information on dues. Current annual dues for a new member, $95, renewing 83, instructional rating renewal at 40. Many of you saw we had a dues increase that was about 2 years ago. No planned dues change for this upcoming year. For comparables, listed some for some of the other international organizations who offer comparable services to USPA, so you get a quick look at what our dues are in comparison to some other nations, and we are thankfully one of the lowest ones on there. It's a great thing for us. Quick look at some of the member benefits. This is a short list I put together. Internationally recognized licensing, instructor, and credential programs, safety and training development to include the new SIM and IRM. We developed many of those standards so the government doesn't have to do it for us, which is a big piece of making sure we control our sport. Competition programs to create and manage competition standards, which allow our members to enjoy competitive skydiving, support our U.S. competitors and top athletes. We field more competitors at national and international events than any other nation. We have a wonderful record-setting program that allows folks, whether they are competitors or fun jumpers, to push their limits and the limits of what can be done in performance and in competition. Great third-party liability insurance, which works here in the United States or abroad. Our print magazine, Parachutist, one of the last remaining viable print magazines, skydiving magazines in the world. Happy to still have that. Folks love reading it and seeing it. Digital communications to keep you connected with the sport, to include email, newsletters, and social media. Vast number of affinity programs to include accidental death and dismemberment policy, travel discounts, and one we brought on last year, an expert voice, which gives our members great discounts on various retail products. Airport and airspace advocacy at a local, state, and national level to help keep us all skydiving, because that's what we love to do. And the final thing, probably one of my favorite, and I think one of the most beneficial pieces of being a USPA member, is the community. It's all of you. And now we'll take a look department by department. And if I could ask our Director of Government Relations to head up here, Mr. Michael Knight.
What do you use?
Click the big one and arrow down on here. They're separate.
All right. Oh, what? 1, 2, 4. There we go. All right. So first off, we've been successful in. How's it not here? There. Successful in airport and airspace access cases without the need to file Part 13 and Part 16 complaints. This allowed the members that have had issues to either get access to the airspace or resolve their issues without having to go through long, expensive legal battles. During the recent government shutdown, we were able to limit the effect on drop zones. The FAA issued an emergency order that authorized ATC to limit or deny service to parachute operations. Obviously, that could have been a big impact, but we were able to reduce that impact on any of the drop zones. We've received a lot of positive feedback on some documents that we've issued this year. So the drop zone safety inspection checklist, the flight operations handbook, and the safety or the emergency response plans have all been positively received. I try and promote those documents whenever I'm speaking with DZOs, and the ones that have really taken the time to implement those have really seen the positive impact from those. Going on right now, we have a lot of work with our aviation association partners, EAA, AOPA, and really there's actually probably a collection of probably 20 to 30 other associations that all get involved in some of the stuff we're doing right now. The FAA is currently updating the regulations regarding commercial drones. So delivery drones and ag drones, right? Those things are all coming. So all the associations have submitted comments addressing our concerns associated with that new operation that's going to exist. Right. Another one is AOPA introduced the ADSB Privacy Act. That's another one that we're actively supporting because the idea is to stop airports from using ADSB to charge landing fees. So the FAA or the Congress authorized $12.5 billion to modernize ATC. So a lot of the associations in USPA are submitting letters on how we would like to see that money used and what parts of the ATC we would like to, of the infrastructure we would like updated. And finally, we're currently working on some airport airspace access issues in Hawaii, Florida, South Carolina, and Rhode Island. All right. So next up, I'm going to pass it to Ron with safety and training.
So before I start, I'd like to wish Stephanie Seidel happy birthday. And I am going to talk to you guys because this is a membership meeting and they're tired of hearing me. The shaded out part, I reported out at the last summer meeting of 2025, so I'm not going to go over that again. The other things that we completed this year was the Handycam 100 jump program. Typically, there's a rule at 200 jumps you can start using Handycam. That's open book. You just start using Handycam. There's no education component. So what we did is we lowered the number, but we require a bunch of education and evaluations with the tandem instructors. So we're hoping this ups the education going into doing Handycam, and hopefully we can avoid some of the problems we've had with it in the past. This is weird. All right. Online course for tandem trainer certification, USPA, as soon as the new IRM comes out, we have a new certification for tandem instructors, which is basically a manufacturer rating, how to use the equipment. They're not authorized to teach student training. They're authorized to do student or discovery flights, introduce the sport, but they have to turn it over to an instructor if they want to do actual category training. We rewrote the IRM. It isn't out yet. It's still in editing. We're hoping to have it out by the end of the month. The sim was something that we rewrote. Has everyone seen the new sim? It's now logbook size, so now it can fit in whatever compartment you keep your logbook. You can keep the sim right next to it. Before it was too big. There's another reason, and when the new IRM comes out, you'll see why. Another reason why we shrunk it down. And we did 6 standardization meetings last year with examiners and got input. A lot of that input was brought up to the board for some of the decisions that they had to make. Going into 2026, the Handycam program, there's actually no documentation in any of our manuals on the Handycam program. That's a completely online program. It's verified. There's online training modules. The examiners taught how to do the evaluations, all online. The verification and everything's done online. So this is the first program with USPA that's totally online. Something else that we're working on, and we're working on completing the tests right now, the test question, we're also going to offer in Spanish and Chinese. So this will be the first education in USPA that's offered in other languages. And we can do that because it's all online. If we were to have to print separate manuals for everything, that would be super expensive. But because it's a completely online program, it's easy to do this. We have a new manual. We have the sim, we have the IRM. The IRM actually covered content for both candidates taking courses and the examiners, how to run the course, and it was confusing for the candidates. So now we've split that out. We have a manual that's just for the candidates and how to use your rating. We also have now the examiner rating manual, which is all about running the course and evaluating the course. So we separated it out. Should make it easier for the candidates and the examiners. Anyone familiar with the coach online modules? It's the pre course for taking the coach course. We're expanding that into AFF and Tandem this year. So we're expecting this to go a little bit faster now that we've got the first one done. 2026 safety campaign, it's normalizing excellence, the normalization of deviance. This is how we look at incidents and debrief incidents after the fact to figure out where we got to how we got there. But that's not how you avoid getting into it. How you avoid getting into it is normalizing excellence in everything that you do. So that's the campaign for Safety Day this year. I'm hiring a new safety associate, so if anybody knows anyone that's willing to work with incident reports, come see me, let me know. If it's a friend of yours or if it's you, come see me hiring. Outreach for safety culture assessment tools. Michael Knight touched on this. That's the DZ checklist tool. I've worked with a couple drop zones to do this. It starts really good conversations. In fact, I had one drop zone do it. There were 5 things on the list that they had never even considered. So we talked about it a little bit, and they're looking into implementing some new procedures because of it. PLF training, Oleg. Is kind of leading that, but we're looking at the Canopy Task Force is expanding Canopy emergency procedures into, because every bad landing ends with a PLF, and that wasn't included in our CEPs. So we're looking at how we can incorporate that and doing some data-driven stuff on that. Governance Committee. Yeah, I support all the committees. We're in and out on committees all the time. My primary focus is safety and training, but that bleeds into almost all the committees at some point or another. And then continuing education. I work basically every 6 weeks with all my counterparts in different associations around the world. British Skydiving, Australian Parachute Association, Canada, Mexico signed in. We got a couple other ones that are in Europe. And we meet and talk about what's going on in the associations. I just got back from British Skydiving. I was amazed at listening to their DZO conference, how they have all the same problems we have. It's amazing. But we have conversations about things that are coming up, and sometimes it enlightens me to look at things, and sometimes I have input that they hadn't thought of. I'm going to introduce Amanda. She's going to be next. And I don't know how to change the screen. Somebody got it. Competition. It's done. You're good. You don't have to do it. She's doing it in the back.
Perfect, thank you.
You just arrowed out on this.
Okay,
It's not connected to that.
that's all right. This one too. Thanks, I appreciate it. All right, and happy birthday, Stephanie, because we said we're going to keep telling you over and over and over again. So 2025 was a great year. Keep making progress as we go on. We implemented the Nationals registration along with a Nationals website. It's very well received because it's going to provide consistency for all the competitors year after year, and we're only going to keep improving it. We also planned and facilitated meetings for the CP World Cup in Eloy. That went really well. It's our way of taking what we've been doing with working with the hosts to bring the teams together behind the scenes so that way the competitors have a smoother experience. So we're now taking that to the international level. We're going to continue to do that with the goals for 2026 because we do have 2 World Cups in the United States. For 2026, we have 4 events at Skydive Arizona and 2 events at Skydive Elsinore. It's been very well received by all of the judges, the FAA controllers, everyone at the international level. So we've already started to implement those. Served as the jury member at the Speed Skydiving World Cup last year. It's great because then I can bring that information and knowledge to the nationals level, serving as jury president. One thing that isn't on the 2026 goals is I was just selected as the jury president in France for an international competition. So that'll only help to continue to educate me. Attended the Canopy Piloting World Cup after all those meetings, wanted to see how we could keep improving and how everything we did well as well. So collected a bunch of information there, talked to the athletes. That was really great. Attended the ISC meeting as we do every year. Another one is the social media presence. I think communication is important. And I think that we've been talking about the exposure for competitions and athletes with records, but we haven't relayed that now it's no longer in the talking phase. We've started to implement that. And USPA is putting a lot of resources and working with hosts to bring the bigger picture plan to light. With that, we're promoting skydiving outside of the sports. So not only within, but all of those other sports that with the Olympic sports, with anything with aviation. That way we can expose them to skydiving because they didn't even know that it existed. Took a women's leadership international course as well. Met a lot of wonderful ladies. So again, that cross promotion is going to help to make skydiving in their more visual for them to realize it. Check out our USPA YouTube page if you have not. Communications department works really hard, and they were live streaming the nationals. They did daily videos, and again, we have those host partnerships. Check it out, share it. Again, we want to spread the word beyond skydivers. Anything else, or you'll talk more about that if we need to? Okay. So our goal this year is the judges working group. It's important to have consistent material, and we're creating consistent tests and stuff across the disciplines, and that way it's going to help with our judge examiners and allow more people to get their judge ratings with consistent material. Again, we're going to continue to facilitate the meetings with the national and collegiate hosts. Right now there are 3 national hosts for 2026 and 1 collegiate host. Going to continue to facilitate the meetings for the 2026 FCEs, continue and support all the records, and the parachute team, all the competitions, and continue to promote the bigger picture for the exposure. I also serve on the media working group as an international level, so that's going to hopefully help as well. And then moving on to the U.S. parachute team. We had the collaboration and communication for the FCEs and talked with team managers, looked at their AARs. So our goals are to this year take it to the next level and start conducting host webinars as well on Zoom. So that way, not only are we sending the informational emails, but that way we also have Q&A sessions. We can go over everything that we are covering in those emails. So it's going to hopefully bridge some gaps between some of the athletes, especially we have the more experienced athletes that can share information, tips and tricks with our newer athletes traveling. So hopefully, again, that communication and bridging those gaps. Lauren Pfeiffer is an amazing person. She's very connected with building team amongst the athletes. So she's going to serve in partnership for team manager with me for the events for FS, CF, CP, AE, wing speed. So I think that's going to be a great team. I think we're going to serve our athletes well. And then our records program, you can see for the numbers, and then I've just put the total so we can keep track of that. In 2024, we had a lot of unclaimed records, and we had a big push for people to seek out those unclaimed records. So we did have a boost in 2024, and then to date, again, we just need that exposure for the records, and we'll just keep promoting it. We did a webinar. If you have not checked that out, go on and check that out. Introducing Jen Sharp, Director of Technology.
First of all, I want to say, happy birthday, Stephanie! Like all of us are saying. All right. I'm Jen Sharp, Director of Technology, and my partner in crime over there is Patrick Anderson, and I have to say how amazing it has been to have him on board. Wow. 1 + 1 = 3. Really, basically, it's really been great. I was a little bit drowning for a while, and it's been wonderful. Thank you for coming on board. And actually, Patrick has worked with USPA as a technical assistant manager with a vendor that we were using. And so he was very familiar with what we were doing, and he fit in so nicely, no training needed or anything. So we've accomplished quite a bit together, and he's not made his first jump yet, but I'm hoping he'll do a tandem with one of us on staff who have a tandem instructor rating. So you can see the accomplishments and goals that we have. It's really fluid and ongoing. You can just kind of take a look and read this for yourself. I'm just going to highlight a couple things. And we do work with all of the departments. And so you might see some things and like we don't really just do projects on our own. It's always connected to another department. And so I love doing that because we're really collaborating with other staff. And the other thing I really like is my office is basically the world, basically, or the US. And so I get to travel around and, so if I know you and I'm like, hey, get on your phone, see what this looks like. I have a lot of beta testers out there, and I'm also listening and finding out like what is needed, and it's really helpful. So we've done a whole lot of things in different areas for competition, you can see, for membership, safety and training, group members, examiners. I think the ones that are probably I want to point out are that, let's see, we're looking into a membership card for Apple and Google Wallet. That's kind of neat, isn't it? We're looking into that. That might be kind of fun. Another tech thing that we're doing, if you notice at the bottom right, there's that little icon. We're soft launching, so if you haven't found it yet, go look for it on the profile pages. So when you log in, you click on your name. That's a little AI chat feature. So that was fun and interesting to try to do something new like that. So you have a question. If there's not somebody at USPA online right now, you can actually get some very much more concerted help than just, oh, hey, leave a message for us, right? And you can always talk to a live person as well, or email a live person as well. So we're trying that out. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check that out. Let's see what's else kind of exciting. Speaking of AI, we are trying to work with safety and training to make incident reporting even more even easier to do. Ron has great ideas for this, and he's been wonderful for trying to get data-driven training, and so we're going to try to support that. In other words, instead of filling out the whole report, what if you just were asked the things that were appropriate for what the incident started to be out like? So just trying to make things easier. Because overall, I know there's a lot of things here, but overall, our job is to make your job easier. That's what Patrick and I are really focused on, is trying to make everybody else's job easier using technology. So we do have some ongoing projects that we always have in our list, which are, so these are just things that we just keep doing over and over again, kind of maintenance stuff. Supporting users especially. If you notice it's easier to recover your account, maybe you've had some problems logging in, and now we even use text to try to recover your account. What if you don't have your access to your email address anymore? We just took like all the questions people had and said, okay, what are the most common ones? How can we whittle that away so people can get what they need quicker? Addressing errors and security and all that really fun stuff that you don't really want to hear about. So that's it for tech department. And of course, as always, if you have an idea, let us know, because that's our job, is to make your job easier. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to George. Luke with communications.
How's it going, everybody? Happy birthday, Stephanie Seidel. I'm going to start by showing you guys some of the choice photography from our best skydiving camera guys and girls. And we're going to talk about the communications department. It's kind of a unique department in that it's really embedded in what every other department does. We are very involved. If there's a safety initiative that we want people to know about, then we're the people who put it in front of our members' eyes. If there's a technological breakthrough that we've had recently, then we want to make sure that we make sure that our members know about it. So I think that's my first bullet point here, actually. Remote? We're a little behind on there we go. That said something different than that said. So that's that first bullet point. We also continue to serve our membership with a skydiving magazine that is one of the only skydiving magazines that continues to go out in the fashion that it does. We also really care about the cost effectiveness of that skydiving magazine and try to make it as beneficial to you guys as possible. We added a web designer this year, and that has been a really big deal for us. It's allowed us to address the number one complaint we've had about our website, which is it takes a long time for me to get to where I'm trying to get to in our website. So we are reorganizing our website. We had initially looked at a reorganization going live in April, and we are ahead of schedule on that. So I think that you'll see that even before April. We're excited about that. We also hired 2 people in our department to replace Laura, our fearless leader, who is retiring, deservedly so, after 17 years, and me. So we have 2 incoming people, and we really lucked out with some really great people that came in Rosie Booker and Cecilia Melise. We rewrote the sim. It is very different. It is something that is going to be working in tandem with our new IRM that's coming out this year. So the rewriting of those manuals has been a big task this year, but we are almost done. We're advancing World Skydiving Day efforts as far as that, getting, I guess, the ball rolling on that is something that is promoted much more by drop zones around the world than it even is by us. So we're excited about year 3 of that. We produced the DZO conference, and we are looking forward to the first European DZO conference or International DZO conference. And then our websites that we have that are ancillary to USPA.org, as the ones that serve that World Skydiving Day, that serve nationals, that serve the DZO conferences are up and going. And we completely overhauled our new member and A license member emails, because those had been the same that they had been for like too long. So looking forward to 2026, whenever the projector screen decides to look forward to 2026, I'll just, oh, there we go. I mentioned the transition of new staff. Again, I really can't speak highly enough about the two people that we've brought in. They're going to be fantastic. They're going to continue to serve our members as well or better as we have in the past. So Starter Mag is my child. That's my baby. We are going to be going ahead with volume 2 of Starter Mag. As of right now, we ordered 40,000 of the first volume, and we have distributed 36,500 plus of those, and have gotten really good feedback from drop zones, not only saying that it's a great tool for them to use, but also, ways that it can improve. And when a drop zone is reordering the Starter Mag, we can tell that it's something that they value. So I could talk to you guys about the Starter Mag for like the rest of this meeting, but we're excited to make it even better. We are continuing to improve USPA.org. That is something that, because of the staff that we've brought in, we're able to do that incrementally moving forward. It's not some huge giant milestone. We are always making it better. So any feedback that you guys have is always very happily received. We are publishing the rewrite of the IRM, which will be in tandem with that new sim. And I know Ron kind of hinted at it, but the IRM is going to work with the sim in a way that it hasn't in the past, and we're excited about that. We are producing 6 or more webinars to educate and engage our members, and I think 6 or more might be a little bit of an understatement, because it is February 14th, and it's Stephanie Seidel's birthday. It's February 14th, and we've done 3 already. So I think we're 6 or more, emphasis on or more. We're maintaining those extra websites. We're promoting the engagement with USPA.org and our social media channels. We are also going to be continuing to look at how we can promote events as they are happening, whether it's nationals, whether it's Safety Day, whether it's World Skydiving Day, all of those events, making sure that we're putting a huge spotlight on those as they happen. And we are going to continue to provide public relations services, which is basically making sure that when people learn about skydiving, whether it's for the first time, second time, third time, but if they're outside of our community, they're learning about all of the great things that skydiving has to offer. So I'm going to move forward and give the podium to George Hargis, who is awesome. So thank you guys so much. I just used the up and down buttons.
Sure.
No, like this one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our e-newsletters. We do send out the update monthly to all of our members who've subscribed. The professional, which is anyone with a rating in the industry, are beyond your A license. So once they've received their A license, it gives them an email of where to go from there. And also when they officially become a USPA member. All of this data down here is just showing that we actually have a really high engagement with those emails. Industry standard is around 20 to 30%. So we're seeing 60 to 70% of them opening and people engaging on those emails. So that's always really great to see. Shannon Searles is the one who, in the communications department, really spearheads these emails. And we are changing up our membership renewal email. In the white, you can see what we used to do, which was a 3-month, 2-week reminder, and then expired for 2 weeks, expired for 6 months. But in the green, this is the emails that we're adding. This is just to continue to remind people up until the 5 or 6 month mark that they have time to renew their membership and try to keep our members who have potentially expired to renew. And that'll be new for 2026. Moving on to, my screens are showing two different things. There we go. All right. So public relations, that's what I mainly focus on for work. And I work with an amazing PR team, Ditto. They help me engage the local and national news outlets with all of the positive skydiving stories. So some of my favorites from this year were the canopy formation world record. I hope you all have heard of Kim Noor, who completed her 1,000th jump as an 86-year-old, which was amazing. And then some of the accomplishments of our U.S. parachute team athletes as they competed around the world this year. This is really kind of small for you guys to see, but basically it just is a breakdown of January through December 2025, how many impressions we got, which is basically eyeballs on these stories. And oftentimes you see that we're in the hundreds of millions, and even in September in the billion impression range. So that's amazing to see all these people viewing our positive skydiving stories. And one more thing about PR, this is just kind of a breakdown over the years. Again, this is a lot of numbers. Two things I want you to focus on are the impressions. We are in the billions every single year since 2022. So that's amazing to see how many people have actually seen positive skydiving stories. And then the ad value. This is kind of what it would cost if we wanted to publish an advertisement, say like a Super Bowl commercial or something, to get the same amount of eyeballs on those stories. So you can see the ad value of all of these placements is in the millions. So kind of exciting to see that we're getting this engagement and not having to spend those millions of dollars. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. Oh, let me bring up Albert. He's going to talk about membership on behalf of Stephanie Seidel, whose birthday is today.
Thank you, George, and thanks to everyone on our staff who came up and spoke here. I'm sure you can tell they have a lot of stuff that they work on a day-to-day basis. You guys don't see it all every day. They do. They love it. They love skydiving. They work their butts off. What you saw is a small fraction. I had to make them all pare it down so it fit on one page. Some of them went to really small font to do it. But the actual amount of stuff they do, we couldn't even fit into a slideshow to show you today. So this is the highlights of what they do, not everything. So big thanks to all of our staff. They do an amazing job, and they're all here working for all of us. So thank you. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about the membership department. They are the first point of communication with USPA. Their goal is to be friendly, helpful, and efficient, whether you call, email, or message us in any other way. We maintain a pretty speedy processing time. For those of you who have been members for a really long time, you probably remember the days when you would mail your membership in with a check and you'd wait a month or maybe more to get your membership card back in the mail. For the last few years now, when you do your membership, you have it done. If you do it online, it's immediate. If you do mail it in, it takes us about 1 to 2 days to process a paper application, award, or otherwise. We opened up auto renewals for members in their profile. Pretty complex thing to do. It sounds easy, but pretty complex. So now if you want to set up auto renewals for your membership, you can do that. We added an affinity benefit for a company called Expert Voice, which allows you as a USPA member, whether you have a license or an instructor credential, to go on there and you can get some great pricing on a lot of outdoor activities, apparel, different equipment for other kinds of sports and stuff. So it's great that they've recognized our credentials and some great things there for our members. We now have tracking of FAI awards in your member profile. We have the USPA store, which we brought in-house a year ago. The offerings that we've been able to do since we did that have really exploded. Many of you may have seen the holiday jersey that we put out last year. There's limited stock of that left, and we'll have a new one coming in 2026. So processing of applications online, we talked a little bit about that, and the tech work that they do on that is pretty amazing. If you go back a few years, just 4 or 5 years ago in 2021, we were processing about 69% of the transactions for USPA online. Year to date, it's about 90%. Now, it's really easy to get up to that 60 and 70% because if you look at the membership process, which was probably the more basic thing you do, which is just renewing a membership, that's a big chunk. That gets you up to over 60% right there. It's all the other little very difficult and complex transactions it takes to move up 2%, 3% at a time. We're now up to over 90%. So that's amazing for us. It allows us to meet our members where they want to be met online and be able to self-service their membership and credentials and different awards on their own without having to mail in a piece of paper or call in a credit card or anything like that. So pretty excited about that. Some goals for 2026, continue to maintain world-class member service, right? Continue to be timely, friendly, helpful, and have a member-centric attitude when anyone contacts us. We'll be working on updating the competition awards hallway at headquarters. We're looking into some different travel and insurance programs that would be beneficial to our members. And we'll continue to add fresh and new products that members will enjoy in our USPA store. Now the exciting part, admin and accounting. Who loves accounting? I do. Sorry, I get excited about that. 2025 accomplishments. Timely financials for not one, but 4 different organizations. Those of you who are aware, USPA exists, which is the membership organization that all of you are a part of, but also the management of staff also works on 3 other entities, the United States Parachute Team, Inc., the U.S. Skydiving Safety Foundation, and the U.S. Parachute Team Trust Fund. So we are charged with executing financials and keeping up with each of those entities, including timely financials. We had an audit done on each of them last year, which came through clean. Timely filings of the IRS 990 forms for each of those entities. On the admin side, bringing on 5 new hires last year to include Rosie, Tyler, Cece, and Patrick in IT, and Barb as our resource development manager. We updated the security system at headquarters. We added some new cameras on the exterior and interior of the building. Moved the landscaping duties to in-house rather than outside contracting. So I got a bit of a promotion. I now get to do the lawn with the help of Ron Bell, our safety and training office. So whenever we get a little bit too stressed out, the headphones go on and we get on the mower. We've also taken over mowing the lawn for our friendly neighbors with the International Skydiving Museum and Hall of Fame, which owns the lot next door. We resealed the parking lot in September. We added 2 new EV charging stations for non-dues revenue opportunities and property enhancement. Passed our PCI compliance requirements. And this year we're working on implementing new organizational credit cards that have reward programs and the ability to streamline credit card expense processing for staff and expense reporting for the board when we get to that point. Here's a shot of some of our new things that went into the store. I don't know, I like the croc pin personally. That's one of my favorites. The new sim, there's a snapshot of the new USPA blue jersey that you'll be seeing in the store shortly. And my favorite, the Alpaca Your Parachute t-shirt. So you might want to get on those because I expect they're going to be pretty popular. And last off, want to just say thank you to everyone who came here and thank you for being a USPA member. You are what drives everyone in this room who is a board member and everyone on staff to do what we do every single day and what we do for the organization. So thank you for that.